You're now listening to the Something Good Podcast Network. Please press any key to continue.
Let's talk about some people dying for fun.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of The Couch Potatoes. I'm Alex.
This is Cap
Morrison.
And this week we're going to be talking about a documentary / little piece of land settled in New Jersey, Vernon Township, New Jersey, to be precise. Action Park.
Yeah, this is a doc that's, if you have HBO, it's a high recommendation. And this is the topic that has stuck with us for a couple years now, just because of how insane the whole thing is.
So the documentary is called Class Action Park.
Yeah.
And it was basically one of the flagship documentaries to come out on HBO Max when they were really pushing it. Like this was the thing to get people to subscribe to watch. And it worked.
Yeah.
That's HBO's driver, not a fucking Star Wars or a superhero deal or anything like that.
Fucked up action theme park.
Yeah, but it's the same thing like when the streaming services first launched, and like, no, you're only getting this here.
Yeah.
It's nice. And HBO's always kind of been like that.
Yeah.
The exclusive-ness of what they got. Like Comedy Central had Comedy Central Presents, but HBO had
The Sopranos.
But like they had their own comedy store, comedy stuff.
Yeah.
And it was very like top tier
And
comics.
the Showtime specials.
Yeah. It was great. Then they had boxing for the longest time, and man, HBO, it's up top, man.
So they've been the premium, exclusive content provider for like years now.
Cap, what does HBO stand for?
Home box office. Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I know that's a question I could ask Chris in his sleep, and he would say as promptly as punching me in the face. So I knew that would just be yeah, good job, Cap. No, I found it really fascinating, mainly because I actually have a deep love for theme parks and amusement parks and fairs. Ever since I was a kid, we would either take what felt like annual trips to Carowinds there for a few years straight. And we always made it a trip to go to one of the state fairs anytime it happened. And actually, I know for a fact we talked about some of the state fairs on Something Good For You, talking about the livestock that was always there, and all this. And that was what I was always dragged to. What are y'all's relationships with like amusement parks and fairs and shit?
We just got the Mid-South Fair in Memphis every summer, and I only went a couple of times, but it was it was fine for what it was. I mean, it's not like we had like theme parks. Like if you wanted to go to a theme park, you went to Six Flags, and I actually got to
How far from that was that from you?
It was in Six Flags in St. Louis, so it's a drive. I can't picture it at the top of my head right now, but you would have to go from West Tennessee and spend the night in fucking St. Louis,
So I'm geologically dummy.
Dollywood is.
I was about to say, is Dollywood not closer?
No, it's about the same.
No, not from Knoxville to Memphis. That's a day drive.
Okay, yeah, you're talking about like something close to the North Carolina Tennessee border.
Got it.
Like once you get past Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, Dollywood's right there.
So we're closer to. We could make a day out of Dollywood if we really wanted to.
Got it. Well, I mean, we could make an after. That's a true fact. We could actually make an afternoon out of going to Carowinds. Carowinds is just right down the road.
I buy some fireworks in South Carolina.
Yeah, there you go. You go to like that little. There's a. I know the one you're talking about that's near Carowinds, but my favorite. We're totally going off on a tangent now, but my favorite place is almost the size of a Walmart.
Yeah.
And it's on that right on the fucking border.
Right when you get to Rock Hill.
No, other side of the interstate.
Which one are you talking about?
It's not the one near Rock Hill. It's the one if you're going to Lake Gaffney.
Oh, okay. because there's two on the border, because that's the best spot to put them is on the border, because once you cross that imaginary line, it's legal and illegal.
No, this one's not that one. It would be whatever interstate we'd be on heading down to South Carolina, like as if we're going to Gaffney, not Rock Hill. Yeah, there's one over there that's like the size of a damn Walmart, and it's just like, oh my god,
God, I love catch on fire.
Yes, it'd be beautiful and heartbreaking.
Right.
But no, I always loved going to Carowinds, and I think I also wound up having an affinity for like theme parks and amusement parks, partly due to the Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park movie. I remember watching that a lot as a kid and actually enjoying like the amusement park sides.
I want to go to the park, Mom. Will Kiss be there?
Well, yeah, it's like I even started associating like Carowinds as a young age with Kiss because I would watch that movie a lot. She had it on VHS, so like even though it was like Hanna-Barbera themed or whatever it was at the time, it was still just like, oh, this feels like a Kiss thing. It feels like I should be like hearing over the PA, Kiss tonight. Kiss tonight.
No, I think the only music thing one is like Dolly's.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, I went to Emerald Point. Mm-hmm. It's if you take the wrong way to Washington D.C. from here, you'll end up in Emerald Point.
Okay. What do you mean the wrong way?
Okay, so here's us.
Okay, kind of in the center.
Here's D.C.
All right. Maybe at about like a 215.
Yeah. So let's say like northeast of here. So you can either go east and then north and end up through Emerald Point.
Right.
Or you can drive north, then go east, going through the Shenandoah.
Okay.
You go through the Shenandoah, it's fucking beautiful, man.
I bet.
It's gorgeous land. You go the other way, $5 single cheeseburgers. Every goddamn restaurant, it's $5 for like the smallest goddamn cheeseburger. And like,
that's why you're upset.
Well, I'm upset because we went over there and we had to detour because the traffic was jammed. So we stayed with the traffic.
Right.
And there was a limb in the road about the size of half this fucking table that was blocking the road. And one guy was like passing people through. I'm like, move the fucking limb, you lazy piece of shit.
Shit, for real.
But it was July 4th weekend. We had gone to D.C. But, D.C. was packed.
Right.
But Emerald Point was packed too. Because July 4th weekend.
Right.
But you talk about like fairs and stuff. The Dixie Classic Fair here in North Carolina is in Winston-Salem. It's the biggest like tobacco fair. That's how it started, was a tobacco fair. And then we went to the State Fair in Raleigh, which was badass. We had like a shitty one in our hometown.
Right.
At Statesville. And it's okay. They moved it to the defunct mall.
That's a nice to have it
because like they had all the open parking spots, like all the open park, and they put like this makeshift fair there. We never went to the Statesville Fair much growing up because it was just it seemed like a money scam, like a money pit.
Yeah, the Mid South Fair had like rodeos and shit like that
ours
too.
Did. Ours had derby racing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, derby and what was it? Where the cars just smashed together.
Monster
bumper
trucks.
Carts. Bumper cars.
No. This is like you take a beater like old Buick, put fucking God, what is it called? Johnny Knoxville did it in Jackass, where he rented a car and just destroyed the shit out of it.
Oh, demolition derby.
Yeah, demolition derbies.
Okay,
we had those.
Yeah.
My buddy's stepdad got into that shit, and it was like, damn, that's badass to watch as people just fucking shit up. We went to Carowinds quite a few times. I was never a big fan of Carowinds.
Really?
Nah, we would go to Myrtle Beach though, and they had the
pavilion.
The pavilion, and the pavilion had one of the oldest roller coasters out there. It was all made of wood and shit. My dad's like, we're getting on that fucking thing. And now, as you're an adult, you're just like, but that rickety fucking thing could have snapped, killed us all.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, man. I had fun at Carowinds the one time I went because you're on roller coasters that'll just lift you out of your seat.
Yeah, well, it had Top Gun, but you didn't have a seat. Yeah, the Top Gun. I remember there was two that I just really liked. It was the log one.
Yep.
And then there was the Scooby Doo.
Yes.
Because the way it was shaped, it dips like a bowl, then whips around, and it gives you a nice little punch.
That actually shows how old you were when you went there too, because the Scooby Doo ride is only for like the maybe like 8 to maybe 13, 14 kids. I remember that one distinctly.
Yeah.
Because it was that nice neon purple too.
Yeah, the neon purple and green.
Yes.
And then they created the virtual rides, where it was the movie theater seating that moved.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you had
4D stuff.
You had Rolling Thunder, which was like it was 3 screens. It was either like an avalanche ride down, or you're being chased by the fucking cops in like the 1930s. And
You'll never get me, coppers.
yeah. But they had the missing effects and stuff like that, where you'd get really cold, they'd shoot mist, or it'd shoot like some foam shit that probably causes cancer, like something. But those were always fun. The virtual rides, the beach has those, and they really amped those up a little bit.
Yeah, the Ripley's.
The Ripley's. Oh god, I could do a whole episode on Ripley's. Their shit's awesome.
Anytime I go to the beach, I like going to like the go-kart tracks and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did quite a few of those. But now the pavilion down in Myrtle Beach, like as trashy as it is,
R.I.P. It's gone now.
Yeah.
No, the thing I always liked the South Carolina Columbia State Fairs.
Mm-hmm.
Those were always fun. That's where I always had like the deep fried Oreos and the donut burgers and
now,
all
when do they usually have their
sins
fairs?
to humanity.
Is it like the tail end of summer?
Yeah. When it's blistering fucking hot and you have to buy all the liquids and drinks and shit. Of course.
Fuck yeah, we need to go down there.
Oh, I think it'd be fun. Well, I think we need to make a trip to the Forbidden Taco Bell.
The Forbidden Taco Bell.
That's in West Virginia.
I can't remember what we
This
talked
is more
about.
something good for you ish topic, but yeah, no, there's like this. I'm sure it's like either photoshopped or just a joke, but there's like this rundown trailer in somewhere in West Virginia that's got like the awning for Taco Bell on it. It's just called the Forbidden Taco Bell.
Worst case scenario, we get some fucking tacos.
The best case scenario.
I was gonna say that'd be best case scenario.
The worst case scenario goes so much fucking longer.
Oh yeah.
We'll think about that on the way to Point Pleasant.
Right.
'Cause
But,
that's the plan.
But the reason I bring up all the state fairs and stuff is the state fairs are the rides that you do kind of observe for a little bit before you get on, because it always looks cool from a distance, but then you kind of sit there and observe it for maybe like a minute. You let it go through a whole cycle and you listen to everything. And if too many things are going, you're like, yeah, no, this doesn't sound like hydraulics. This sounds like metal moving all around that doesn't need to be moving as much.
It's kind of like in the action park doc. You're fighting that voice in your head that goes, "You're not a pussy. You're not a pussy. You're not a pussy."
I'm not there to impress anyone. I'm not there to impress anyone. And I'm not even going to be with a chick there that's like, oh, he won't get on this ride. He's a pussy. No, you're not getting on it either.
I was thinking about
if you won't get on it, I'm not getting on it.
So this is all like Carolinas, Tennessee, very southern based kind of deals.
It's the same everywhere.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
Jeff Foxworthy said it best. There's rednecks in every city and every state. So there are versions of these fairs everywhere you go.
But this action park story is like a very Jersey flavored story too, because it's like there's rednecks in Jersey. It's like the redneck equivalent, like side to New York or whatever. That's how it's often portrayed. But I don't know. It's just like everybody talk in the doc. Has everybody's from Jersey and provides their take, and there's like a whole I'm gonna build a theme park, and it's gonna be the best theme park we've ever had. Yeah, and there's like the whole like Jersey tone surrounding all of it.
Yeah, well, Jersey.
That's not me making fun of Jersey. That's apparently how the motherfucker talked, according to some people in this documentary.
Yeah, the CEO or the guy that built it.
Yeah, Gene Moldaville.
Yeah, what a guy.
What a guy.
Visionary.
I want to see a movie.
The Colonel Sanders of fucking theme parks.
I want to see a movie about that guy.
Yeah,
I think we just did, Cap.
I mean, like DiCaprio going full Wolf of Wall Street as this dude.
Him just doing a full bump and just scribbling out a hyperloop for the kids to go through. What are we going to do? We're going to shoot water. We're going to shoot water in it. And we're going to throw a fucking kid down it. And we'll show you how badass this thing is. Meanwhile, the kid's doing 9Gs in the dark.
Yeah.
This comes out spitting out fucking teeth.
Yep.
I'm a man. And your mom's like, we don't have to do insurance.
That was wild too.
Yeah, it's just but if you watch it, well, the way I saw it when we first watched it, and we watched it recently, it's the American dream.
Yeah.
You have an idea and you make it real, and that's what he did. Now, he wasn't like a hardcore businessman to begin with, but he did something that's the most 80s fucking thing possible.
Pretty much.
He skirted government responsibility. He refused to pay taxes, and guess what? He built the most lavish fucking theme park in the Northeast.
He didn't just skirt laws. He completely created his own shit. At some point in the documentary, it got to the point where they were saying that, like, he caused the city so much trouble. They were like, if you pay us this amount, we'll leave you the fuck alone. Like, just to buy the land and just, like, leave us alone.
Yeah, apparently you could just do that.
Yeah, so what's funny is this happened in my hometown.
Okay.
There was a guy, he created a metal salvage yard, a junkyard. And it got to the point where it was so large that the state's like, look, you can't do this because you're in the city limits of our town. You know?
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to cut off some land. We're going to clear cut it. And you can move all your fucking ratty ass junk shit over there.
Right.
Dude became one of the biggest businessmen in my hometown.
Oh, wow. Shit.
13 fucking stores. 13 fucking stores had his name engraved on all of them.
Wow.
Because the government the city gave him land to put his junkyard on. Dude, there was a furniture store, multiple thrift stores, a little tiny home grocery store because the big chains hadn't got here yet. And dude was every fucking where. Most of them are still open. He had gas stations in his name and shit. Dude was a fucking businessman. What he did was he basically extorted the city because he's like, I'm not moving my junkyard. It's a legal spot. You have no laws against it.
Yeah.
And you can't create a law and then grandfather me into it, which is
Fuck
true.
you.
Which is true. You can't do that. And dude fucking got free land out the deal. Wow. And with the money he made without having to spend money on that land during his junkyard, like salvaging, he bought more area. And it was like...
And just kind of kept going.
Kept going. Now,
Gene, though.
Yeah, Gene picked a piece of land out of fucking nowhere.
After buying some ski resorts.
Yeah, it was a ski resort, which is kind of fucked up if you think about it, because the ski resort still existed. So now it's a summertime theme park and a dead of winter theme park. So he's doubling up on scarce of land. Carowinds tries to do this in October, when the summer and spring is over.
With Scarowinds.
With Scarowinds.
And now they actually have like winter bashes and stuff like that, where they get like live music and fireworks shows. And
well, that's smart, because a theme park, if you think about it, is a terrible business model in the fact that it's seasonal.
Yep.
Seasonal stuff doesn't last long, unless you're a Spirit Halloween. Which, why they're not year round, I have no idea, because they would make money year round. They fucking would. People like us. Oh man, where'd you go, man? We went to the movie theater and we decided to walk into Spirit Halloween because it's where they are. They're always near a movie theater. You ever notice that?
Yep.
A Spirit Halloween is always in some defunct grocery store that's near a movie theater.
Well, the thing is, the reason they do well year round is because, again, for people like us, where we want to do like video content, what a better place to run and go grab some props or a quick costume.
And Action Park, I think it's a great idea. What Boulder Hill wanted to do was a carefree theme park.
Do-it-yourself theme park.
Do-it-yourself theme park. And he did, technically. Like, everything he made had no regulation, had no fucking, like, stern ideas. As quoting the documentary, fringe designs.
Yes, fringe architects.
When you think of fringe architecture, or just the word fringe, like fringe chefs are people who like cook people. Fringe bankers are people who make loan sharks real. Like
fringe artists are the ones that make art, and you really look at it and you go,
"Is that made of people?
Can't put that in a museum."
It's like,
is that a dick made of period blood?
Yeah,
it's like you were talking about earlier, where like these fringe engineers, could get hired at Disney World, or
because they came from fucking like Ukraine or fucking Albania or Siberia or some fucked up spot where like we made that real.
It's like, I'm an engineer. Where'd you get your doctor from? I got from high school. I graduated high school.
Well, and clearly these people didn't really have a lick of common sense anyway, because one of the most nefarious, not even rides, but just one of the nefarious slides they had was literally that loop-de-loop slide you're talking about, where Mulville literally draws it on a napkin, shows it to a guy, and goes, "Make this."
That's Spinal Tap when he says, "Make Stonehenge, make this Stonehenge prop."
Yeah.
Like,
and how did it work out for them?
Yeah, exactly.
And I also love the story of they ran a whole bunch of test dummies through it. And when they stopped coming out decapitated or missing limbs, then they're like, okay, now we'll put real kids through this. And the motherfuckers like standing out there near the front of it going $100 for whoever wants to do a test ride.
Yeah, these are the
and you
employees.
Have to think, yes, this isn't even 2022 $100. Like $100 today even sounds like, well, not maybe for this, but just in general, if someone's offering you $100 for something, you're just like,
Nah, you're gonna do it for more. Nah, nowadays $200 ain't shit.
Well, it depends on what it is.
Going down that fucking chute. Ain't
But
nothing.
think about 16-year-old kid,
1984.
$100.
Goddamn right, yelling Reagan Free America, fucking.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Just fucking doing it, dude, and come out kicking out some teeth. I don't need them teeth. I got $100. I can buy new teeth, motherfucker.
A tooth is 50 cents.
Yeah, like it ain't shit to me. And oh man, watching that, it just screams like OSHA.
Well, see, okay. Not to get too far ahead of it, but it's like, of course, the reason the documentary is made is because it was nefarious for tons and tons and tons of injuries and death and everything else. They were getting sued left and right. Why wasn't OSHA getting involved and just being like, I don't give a fuck who says you have immunity. We're shutting this shit down now.
So during the Reagan years, federal regulation along with state regulation of businesses were very lax. Because it was seen as government intrusion to step in and tell you how to fix your shit.
Oh, and Gene was very much against that, even creating his own insurance company, his own
Scam.
fake insurance company just so he didn't have to pay insurance.
It's a very Republican ideal where it's like we don't want any government involvement with anything we do.
Yeah, it's a large step.
Yeah.
In the opposite direction of the Lincoln years.
Yeah.
So, but no, it was the Reagan era. You know, that's how it was. You know, there's you see this a lot in just the 80s history, along with like the late 60s, early 70s history of lax regulation, of poor management, and lack of responsibility across the board. Pan Am did this.
Oh, God, yeah.
Pan Am deregulated.
That would be a whole episode just on Pan Am.
Yeah. And then you have places like Union Carbide in the 80s. There's a lot of, like, if you just type in Union Carbide, it's a horror story.
I need to read up on that, too.
They killed a whole village.
Oh, fuck.
In the middle of the night. But no, it's
in the middle of the night.
chemicals burning bright.
I was killing in my sleep.
But this is epitome of what the 80s were. You know, fast times, good times.
We've all had our share.
Yeah.
Lots of drugs.
Yeah, and that's what it was. This is the capital of the 80s.
Yeah.
Action Park. And I think
because the carefree nature of this park attracted basically kids and the most rowdiest, thrill-seeking kids. I mean, there was a special on Headbangers Ball on just how crazy it was.
Yeah.
And not only
you see the guys from Alice in Chains are on
Yes.
and Ricky Rockman, which is now a North Carolina resident. And I just find it also utterly hilarious that not only was it the mecca for thrill-seeking, rock and roll, Satan kids, those same kids were running the fucking place.
Yeah.
Employed by like 15 to 18-year-olds.
Well, it's just like...
So not only are you dealing with dangerous rides and dangerous situations, when shit goes south, you're also dealing with a pimply-faced 16-year-old going, "Oh, dude, that sucks."
Well, we're actually about to see that in our generation very soon because of the employee shortage that we're suffering, especially in these like fast food restaurants and stuff. They're dropping the age limit from written approval for 15-year-olds to 14-year-olds.
Oh, shit.
As workers. So what you're about to see is a lot of miscommunication, safety issues from teenagers. And
At McDonald's.
Burger King, Wendy's, Arby's, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, because their brains are literally not developed yet.
But like it's
Like what is it scientifically proven that like the regular adult brain does not fully finish maturing until they're like 25 or 26?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So you're dealing with someone that's not even halfway through, or maybe just a little over halfway through with their brain development. And you're doing like, you need to make sure and follow all these OSHA laws and, food safety regulations.
These are children.
Yeah.
Go.
But it's for some people it's going to be a necessity, because nobody in their 30s or late 20s or over is going to work at a fast food joint for $9 an hour. There's no feasible way to live like that.
No, not at all. I mean, I would honestly just go on unemployment before I did that.
And
not even out of like, I can't work a burger joint, my ego. It's just like the amount of time, energy spent versus money back. No, there's no way.
And they'll kick you off unemployment if you don't. That's just fucking crazy.
You got to look.
Yeah, you gotta keep looking. But other than that, I think it does create a very violent environment too, when it's all kids and one giant old man with a cattle prod.
Yeah.
So the
cattle prod.
This was a great deterrent. This is something I 100% agree with this crazy ass man and his kid run park. Was he would take a cattle prod and tell this kid, he's like, look, what you're going to do is you're going to ask them if they got tickets. You don't got tickets, you fucking shock the fuck out of them. And that proves to the rest of them, they better have the fucking tickets.
But the hook of it all is like, it wasn't like charged. Like it was a fake cattle prod or something.
It was an act. And he did it as an act to begin with. And then fucking parents got pissy and bitched and moaned.
Yeah, I love the way they tell it in the documentary. He's like... one of the old workers there was telling the story, and he was just like, he does it to himself, freaks me out. He's like, hey, kid, calm down. It's fake. Look. And then tells the story that you just told. And he was just like, yeah, sure thing. And he goes like a week later, he was on vacation, gets like a phone call or like comes back in or like gets notified. He's just like,
there's some parents here saying people are getting fucking shocked to death.
Yeah. And I know him. He immediately in that moment was just like, God damn it, Gene.
It's like, no ticket. It's like Indiana Jones.
No ticket, no laundry.
And the thing is like, the first time watching it, I'm sitting here going like, yeah, that is pretty funny. I don't know. I might do something like that. But then at the same time, when you do take that step back, think about like the outside person looking at this. They just didn't have a ticket for the lift, and he killed him for this.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Action.
Another part of this is during some of the people we see interviewed are all comedy actors.
Yeah.
Johnny Knoxville, Jimmy Kimmel, the guy with the glasses. That's a comedy writer. He's a legit comedy writer.
And Allison, what's her face, has been in a ton of movies too.
Yeah, she's been in Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
But it's funny seeing them in that because it's something that goes back to when we were like very young. This kind of like fly by night parenting. It's like, yeah, go out in the woods. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And they were talking about they're the last of it, and I'm just like, not quite the last, but for sure.
Well, see, I found it interesting you said that, because as soon as you said that, my brain started working on a similar thought. I don't think it's almost kind of like just almost the end of an era. The versions of it are still around. Because think about it. There's kids all over the place, sneaking out, driving cars, drinking, doing all that kid shit, and the parents aren't paying attention. That happens all the time. It's not like all of a sudden we're in a new age of every parent paying uber attention to their children.
Yeah.
No, we have fucking 16-year-old parents, So it's like when they get to be about fucking 30, they're done. They're not paying attention to their 16-year-old anymore. Like they weren't being paid attention to. They pull down what they were taught. So there's always going to be generations of it, but kids aren't running into the woods to play anymore.
Yeah, because they got computers and shit like that.
Exactly. They're getting into other shit. So again, yeah, it may have been the real end of the era of run out in the woods, meet up with some friends, and get into trouble. Now it's spend some time in your room, text your group chat, find some trouble, sneak out, and do shit then.
Well, if you think about it, because of the the boom of the technology era. We go from, oh no, it's dangerous to play outside within the woods. There might be a killer in the woods, right?
Oh yeah.
There ain't no killer in the woods no more. Motherfucker's in a chat room.
Yeah.
He's on the face space. The My Book.
It's safer out in the woods.
Yeah, the Instacart or whatever.
Honestly, that's the kind of fucked up thing is sometimes it is safer just in the middle of the woods than it is online.
And it is, I will say there isn't much for kids to do.
No,
Anywhere.
there isn't really.
Anywhere. So there is no, I remember being able to, when I was probably 16, we were still able to get on school property and use the baseball field.
Right.
Or the football field or whatever. Not anymore. There's a fence around every goddamn school. As tall as me.
Yep.
Why the fuck? It's public land that should be used, for public.
And pulling it back to
used it.
And pulling it back to like action park and theme park related, it's like admission to that place was probably what, $3 a day?
$3 maybe.
You know, small price to pay just for a little admission just to go hang out with your friends. Carowinds for a single day? What was it, Cap? Like $50-$60?
Something like that, yeah.
And then you have to pay $20 for parking and everything else. So it's even even though in our backyard, so to speak, we have one of these huge meccas that kids could go hang out in, but at the end of the day, you're spending $150-$200.
You're getting priced out of, of an event.
Exactly. So we can't sit here and go, oh, well, Charlotte doesn't have anything. Well, technically we have it. It's just like you said, it's completely priced out of a traditional kids hangout price point. And our malls here suck. They all want to be nice, fancy, and ritzy. There's nothing fun for kids to hang out with. There's no cool GameStops or interesting shit like that.
I remember when they built,
and even GameStop sucks now. So it's like fuck.
I remember when they built a brand new theater in my hometown. And they had it for years. Now it's closed. It's gone. They knocked it down, put up a Nissan joint.
No, that was so worth it.
The day they put up no loitering signs was the beginning of the end.
Yep.
Because they had an arcade inside. If you can't go outside in the night, it's technically a safe place because of all the people there.
Yeah.
And people are going in, watching movies, coming out, going to the arcade, hanging out outside, bullshitting with your friends because
you got to catch some air.
Yeah, but there's no restaurants outside at that point. There were no restaurants. There was no places to hang out. There were bars, but you can't be under 21 even to enter the motherfucker at nighttime. So there's no real safe spot to go. And then they put no loitering signs. It's like, you guys are dead.
Yeah.
A few more years, you're going to be shut down. People ain't going to be going to come to the movies because you put up a stupid fucking sign. And I understand loitering can be bad. But they're not like homeless marauders.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a difference between...
They spent money to hang out. They got their money. Let them stand on the sidewalk for a little bit longer.
Yeah, it only becomes a problem if they're harassing other people. And then it's like you just deal with that on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah. So my hometown had that same problem again when my parents were younger. They put up no cruising signs. My hometown was great for just driving up and down the Broadway or
something for them to do.
Yeah, just something to ride around, see some people on the sidewalk, holler
Sunday
at them.
drive.
Yeah, or like midnight drive. Everybody was out at night. They had bars where you could sit outside. And they got rid of that shit, and guess what? Whole goddamn town died. So that Action Park ran that town.
Yeah. They basically owned it. He literally owned that land.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of Wild Wild Country just
a little bit.
Which was a cult.
It's like its own little town too.
Yeah,
people not only was like a park, but you can go drink and they had their own bar set up and everything too.
You got to think about what that's like living near Carowinds or where it's at, or Emerald Point or Six Flags. If you're just there, how fucking insane it is at that time of year, and you're just like, motherfucker.
Oh yeah. Well, one of my exes used to live like a few neighborhoods away from there. She said, "Oh yeah, during like peak season, she had to plan which way she was going to get home because there was an alternate way through the neighborhood through a different road." And she was like, if she was closing that night, she's like, there was no way because it was going to be right about the time they were letting out, and she was like, there was no way she was going to get through that.
Did you guys ever go to like the Renaissance Fair and stuff, which is like a thing? That's the theme park.
I've never been to a Renaissance Fair.
It kind of falls back in my whole not that much interest in history, and that just felt like a history fair.
No, it's
supposed to be fun. They're supposed to be like super fun.
A lot of craft.
I've been to a Greek festival.
Did you eat their nasty potato salad?
I ate all the food and it was amazing.
They'll get potato salad from the Greeks. It's disgusting. One of the worst things I've ever eaten in my goddamn life.
Why do you not like it?
Because they put vinegar in it.
Yeah, vinegar's good.
Yeah, in certain things, not when you're eating potato salad.
I was picturing the texture of it now.
It's very acidic.
It's becoming another food podcast now.
Yeah. But you know what they had? You know what they had at Action Park? Stale hot dogs.
Fuck yeah.
I know. One of the other stories. One of the other stories
dog.
they told was they were so bad about over ordering food and then not ordering enough that they were having to deal with like stale hot dog buns all the time, that they would boil water and put a colander on top, put the hot dog buns in the colander to steam them, and it would basically make them moist enough to where you couldn't tell that the hot dog buns were stale anymore.
That's no different than taking a pack of hot dogs and put them under a heat lamp. That's no difference. Like, it just heats the bag up, and the moisture in the bag just fucking softens everything out.
What I also love about it is with it being ran by teens, all the stories about like the parties the Action Park crew would have, and
Again, just run by kids.
and the legendary shack that was
shack.
apparently near the Alpine slide or whatever. And they said it just reeked of like backpacks, weed, feet, and like ball sweat.
Just walking in, just be like, oh, it stinks like sex in here.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here going, and I'm agreeing with the guy going like, yeah, who the fuck wants to fuck in here? But then I'm also sitting here going, horny 14, 15, 16-year-olds got it. I've been there. Would have fucked in there too.
And they're all drinking and smoking and all this shit too.
I like what the guy says. Either you're going in there to finger someone or you're getting fingered.
Yeah.
Shit's going into other shit.
Oh yeah, like one of the girls that worked there that was being interviewed, she's like, I was not one of these people, but from what I heard, and I'm sitting here going like, nope.
She got fingered the most.
Everyone knew about you.
I like to you're like a Dr. Sink. All the hands have been in there.
What's the one ride where they talk about how the water just kind of goes up your butthole after the end of it?
The slide.
The slide where everybody just kind of walks funny as soon as they get up.
And that one guy, he brought up a good point, because if you look at it real carefully, it's on rollers. Mm-hmm. It's basically a pack roller slide. It's built the same way as you would with loading cargo. You ever seen those little wheeled things where you're shooting a box down the chute and it's got wheels on it?
Yeah.
That's what it was. It's a tight-knit group of wheels with water. And that guy was like, man, fuck that, man. You get a finger caught in that motherfucker because there's spacing in there. Yeah. And that's all it was. He's like, fuck that. And he turned away. Yeah. I'm going to slide my ass out of here.
Yeah, and that was the same one that I'm like looking at it and like they didn't even round off the edges. There's like sharp as fuck points to this thing. And I'm like, come on.
Again, fringe engineering.
Fringe engineering.
So what do you know for designing? Oh, I did the spinal cracker at Six Flags. Oh, I've never heard of that. Yeah, it didn't last long.
Yeah.
And that reminds me of, like, I brought it up to some friends before. I think about the pussy names they give roller coasters nowadays. So fucking stupid. Top Gun had one of the greatest names ever.
Yeah.
But none of them are like the Spinal Crusher.
Yeah. Like the Cobra.
Yeah, the Cobra. The Nutcracker, or the Thundercracker. That was me and Ken stayed up all night just thinking of fucked up names. You know, the Whiplash.
Yeah. That sounds awesome.
The Thundercracker. You know. Bull Whip, you know, just the cool fucking names, and it's just like, oh, what's this one called? Oh, this one's called the Scooby-Doo. Is there ghosts?
Yeah.
No. Well, fuck.
It'll make you say zoinks.
Why not call it Velma's curvy ass? You know?
Oh, jinkies.
Yeah, the jinkies.
And I love like all the pools that like you jump from are at least 20 feet high.
Oh yeah, the one of the biggest ones was the slide that dropped you into a Springfield pool, which was ice cold and filled with trout.
Yes, from a 10-foot drop minimum.
Yeah, and you're just getting shocked as soon as you fucking hit the water because it's like 50 degrees.
And that's the thing that I'm sitting here thinking on too. It's like, you know, at the apartment here, we've got a pool, you know, which is going to be really nice during the summertime. Chill out by the pool. But I am a bitch when it comes to pool water. I do not like the cold. I'm not one of those people that can just jump in and be like, I'll adapt. No, I do the slow grandpa walk into the pool, and when it gets up to the nuts, it's the ha, you know, and all that shit. I do not do well with cold water. as soon as I was watching that documentary and they said that they were just plunging into that, normal people were saying that it was freezing cold. I'm like, no, I would be one of those people that would lock up and drown. I would die. I would just die. I'm great at buoyancy. I'm great at swimming. I can survive. No, I would lock up and die.
What was I gonna say? They got in the water too. It's like I'm sure none of it was like sanitary either.
No, because they talk about the wave pool. It's filled with runoff.
Yeah,
mud, human waste,
blood,
and gore.
Yes,
they use that word very, very liberally. Gore.
Well, rightfully so, because in the middle of them having a fun old day in the fucking wave pool, all of a sudden they stop it to check for bodies. Mm-hmm. And sure as shit, there's a body.
Casually.
Yeah, so yeah, gore is probably the right word to use for that.
No, one employee was talking about how he read about, an accident in a newspaper, and, after working there like X amount of years, it finally hit him going like, oh, wow, this place might actually be dangerous.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. So let's actually talk about the documentary part of it for a minute. What do you guys think of like the way they presented things? Because they were definitely they presented it in a certain light.
I believe it's fair.
I mean,
it showed the good and the bad, which you don't get with a lot of documentaries.
Yeah.
There was none of that weird cutaway where like some First 48 City Confidential shit is like dun dun, or the weird from the violins or anything, and it's just like, and 4 people were killed by rocks, and it's like, no, there was a lot of like sprinkled in like, hey, this is an attraction that people loved. This isn't a cult documentary like some people are like, oh no, everything was good. We were taking LSD, worshiping Jesus, and then we saw Saturday's Fuck Fest and everything got weird. Yeah. Like, no, it's not like that. This is one of the few fair and balanced actually documentaries I've actually seen in a very long time where it's like, no, here's the good. Kids were making money. Kids were having a fun time. Even the adults. They even said the adults had a great time because they had the beer tents and shit like that. There was the tram. It was a 2-sided park.
Oh yeah, so, we'll get to that part in a second too. That's the good. And then here's the bad.
I mean, even the
people who died. They cracked a few eggs and make this omelet, but this is what it is.
And even when they told the story about Gene himself, they got everybody saying like. Everybody's saying everything like, oh, he was a cool guy. And then you cut to one of the victims that died, the mother saying he was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Immediately afterwards.
We can't bury this motherfucker fast enough. Like,
yeah.
And then you got testimony from one lady that was like a newspaper writer or a columnist that got fired because of Gene. Talking about him in a different light, towards the end of the doc where he sees she saw a different side of him and everything too.
Because that's the thing about bad people. They're not all fucking bad. Like,
humans are just complicated.
Yeah, like you're going to get, if you did a documentary like this with anybody else,
it'd either be like he's a piece of shit or he was the greatest.
Yeah, and that's how it's always going to be. Another documentary like this was the one about Bob Ross. Yep. Bob Ross, great guy. Give you the shirt off his back, but he liked cheating on his wife.
Yeah. Same with
he likes having a happy little side hustle.
Yeah. That was everybody. That was everybody in the 70s.
We're just gonna put a little happy side piece right here.
He just want a happy little side piece.
Yeah, no one wants to be lonely. But like, it's good to have that in a documentary because we see the guy who created the park and the terrible things that happened. And then we get the people who were there that balance everything out.
Right.
And it works out. Like, this is a very well-made documentary. Even it is HBO. They don't make really bad documentaries. I've never seen a bad one from HBO.
Well, the reason I bring that up is because, again, we've watched this well over a year ago, nearly almost 2 years ago now. And since then, there's also been other YouTube reviews of this documentary that popped out. And of course, I fall for every little clickbait thing. And the thing is a lot of the people I watch, I can tell it's an intentionally clickbaity title. So I'm sitting here going like, okay, I might enjoy their humor since they're trying to make it clickbait. Mm-hmm. And this was one of them that was said, Class Action Park is a super toxic documentary, and it had like a whole bunch of like the exclamation points and question marks. So I'm like, okay, I'm kind of curious to see what he's got to say. And he kind of held true to it. He still kind of carried that kind of narrative, but it was kind of an interesting take, which was they almost seem to have been glorifying it too much in certain aspects. And that was kind of his crux of it.
But the glorification is justified because they were there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That kind of shit right there, it really bothers the fuck out of me when people are like, "Oh, it's toxic." Motherfucker, you weren't there.
Yeah.
All right? You could say how toxic something is from afar, like some armchair general or some shit, but nah, bro. You weren't fucking there.
Yeah, the guys that were there were saying things like, it was fucked up, but it was great, It's still, it's like, it doesn't mean it wasn't like super fucked up and we laugh it off, like it was nothing, but,
But like some of the people that were there are in the documentary talking about like, hey, I had a great time, but I also saw bad shit.
Yeah.
I'm not glorifying, I'm just telling you like it was. If you say shit like, oh no, there's a toxic place, then what's that say about the people who went there?
Well, because they were also referencing near the end of it, a lot of the people being interviewed were like, oh, I wish we still had a place like Action Park today. I wish that today's youth would have something kind of similar. And
I never got that vibe.
You didn't?
No, I got the vibe like, hey, this is what the world used to be like.
Yeah.
It's not worse or better. It's just this is what happened back then.
Mm-hmm.
And then the girl I love what the girl says. She has a great analogy. She's like, in the 80s, no one gave a fuck about your feelings. They didn't. You know why? Because they were high or drunk or fucked up all the time trying to die at a theme park. Yeah. Okay? There's no reason for that shit.
And again, I'm just quoting that guy's video. This isn't because my stance on the whole thing. I love the whole bit. But no, that was kind of his stance. And that was the only part I kind of agree with is I do think that there was one guy they were interviewing. It was the guy that he was bald in current day and he was like posed in front of his car in his boat.
The lifeguard guy.
Yeah. He was the only one that seemed like he was like getting a little bit of enjoyment, kind of reminiscing about all these kids' torture. He's just like, yeah, we'd kind of do this, that, and the other, yada, yada, yada. And the thing was, is like, you could see like his like jockey broness kind of coming out some. And like, I said this when we were watching it, is I love the cutaway of like, a producer or something behind the cameras being like, so what do you do for a living now? Oh, I work in law. Or, he's like a banker, like something super, super like, high ranking. Is just like
stocks.
But no, I loved the documentary, and I honestly wish that there was something kind of similar for just kids to go hang out in, because we also have something kind of smaller around town. I forget exactly what it's called, but it's kind of like a mega putt-putt place.
Yeah.
But it's like so run down and like nothing to really do there. Plus, it's like a bitch to get to.
Well, kids like playing in the water and going to the beach, and they talked about how like so the quote unquote poor kids that couldn't afford to go to the beach would go and spend their summers in Action Park.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I took away from it. It's just a haven for those that that couldn't afford to do what their rich friends were doing or going to the beach or whatever.
And there was a lot of places like that in the 80s.
Yeah.
I've talked about it before. Like the mall of my hometown was it. That was the place to go loiter, hang out with your friends. Go shopping, go do whatever. And there was a putt-putt place right fucking behind it. There was a movie theater down the road. You could walk. We had sidewalks. A million fucking stores between there and there. You can hang out in the parking lot, smoke some weed, do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Yeah.
Right? No one's going to go hassle you. What? That's another thing that's fucked up is there's always going to be that one person who's going to make it a hassle because they're not part of it or they're not having fun like you are. And it's just like, fuck them.
Party crasher.
The party crasher. Yeah, fuck them.
What's probably one of the rides from Action Park you'd like to actually see show up at like a random state fair or like coming soon to Carowinds? The blank.
The Hyperloop.
I was going to say, I'm trying to think of something other than the Hyperloop too.
Doing 9Gs in the dark.
The thing is from the outside looking in, that Alpine slide honestly does look fun.
Yeah, the Alpine slide, it looks great, but a lot of it is you better learn to shift your fucking weight. I'm a big guy, so I think if I come tumbling off that motherfucker, I'll be all right. Patting. But if I see this motherfucker doing 65 at a 90-degree angle, I'm gonna like, move your hips.
I like tubes though. So if they had like the tube ride,
the one where it jettisons out the mountain.
Yes.
Yeah. That would be fun.
Or the water enema ride.
Yeah.
The one where it's
Yeah, I know
like
about
The slide.
yeah, like where it's like super steep, and like as soon as you're getting up, you're having to pick out the wedgie for an hour.
You can see Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains just kind of struggling to hold the Speedo together.
It kind of makes me think of, depending on what time of era they went there, when they hit that Hyperloop, if one of them got stuck in there and just wrote the lyrics to Man in a Box. Man in a Box.
I don't think Tube's a good enough lyric there.
Man in a Tube.
Yeah.
Man in a Box sounds better.
Yeah. Water up my butt.
I bet you there's a B-side track they made that's about Action Park. You know there is.
I don't know. Yeah, like I said, the Alpine slide though, if there was just a way they could make it like a little bit safer, I would totally do it. But just and also can't really say that I would do it, mainly because it's been closed as of 5 years ago in May 29th, 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yep. So it initially ran from 78 for 43. No, not 43 years. It ran from 78 to 96.
Mm-hmm.
At the 2014 to 2016.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good run though for some niche theme park out in the middle of nowhere that wasn't combined with like Disney or Six Flags.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of running back over the list here. And the thing is, and it's kind of fucked up because as soon as you click on the little tab for fatalities, it's just like, boom!
Yeah.
No, 6 people are known to have died directly or indirectly from the rides at Action Park. And the thing is I'm like looking through here, it's like 19-year-old, 15-year-old, 27-year-old. That was the...
The 27-year-old had fear.
Well, no, the 27-year-old was the one with the kayak that got zapped in the damn lake.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about that
The
for a
true
second.
kayak experience.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. So they had propellers underwater to
fans,
to move the water to make it more, like a fun kayaking experience.
Just a little chop.
Just a little chop. But apparently this guy tips over and like the edge of the kayak punctures the side of one of the fans, and like he was close enough to it or was touching it and it zapped him.
So there's a good example
Because it like wasn't grounded.
This actually happens a lot with people who own in-ground pools. They don't have proper material to go around the lights of an indoor pool. There's actually a device people buy. They throw in the water. If it turns red, that means there's electricity flowing through the water.
Yeah.
Because it's not properly shielded.
Yeah.
Because this actually happens a lot. If you don't read about it, if you just look up people who've died in in-ground swimming pools because of electricity, it's actually a common occurrence. So electricity can dissipate for so many feet depending on the pH of the water.
Right.
And one guy makes this very clear when he's talking about the wave pool. It's like, hey, when you're in the ocean, since it's a salt water, you're more buoyant. You're not going to be fucking murdered off a little wave. This one, you're struggling because you're sinking. It's fresh water.
Yeah.
And again, this is all from the mind of somebody with no knowledge of how any of this works.
I don't need to
Hiring
make a
people and having people that have no idea how to put it all together, and with no insurance
Fringe designers.
for when anything goes wrong.
Fringe Insurance Company.
Yeah.
When I think of fringe designer, I think of the guy who's designing like a Holocaust camp. So you can't design fun camps anymore. No, this is for concentration. I'm just like, oh my god. He found some like ex-Nazi theme park guy,
Right.
who survived the purge, and it's just like, oh yeah, this is Klaus. Klaus makes the best theme parks. We don't use his real name.
Yeah.
It won't snap your neck.
It won't snap your neck. It kind of reminds me of the guy who created the roller coaster that helps you commit suicide.
The what?
So this guy, he designed a roller coaster. He didn't build it, but he designed it, and it's a roller coaster that kills you through sheer momentum.
Yep.
It starts off with a large loop,
Yeah.
and then it slowly keeps looping and keeps looping until it's
In
small.
like smaller loops.
Yeah. Eventually you die because it's forcing blood from your brain.
God damn.
But
I love that.
I think you can use it in Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Huh.
That's what it makes
kill
that's
all
what-
your patrons.
That's really what Action Park makes me think of, some douchebag on Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Oh my god, yeah. Someone that just did a fat rail and
Yeah.
a nice good bit of meth and was like, fuck it.
Fun fact:
Action
if you build
Park.
a theme park in Roller Coaster Tycoon, and you create a roller coaster that goes into an opposing park and has no railing, you can actually shoot dead bodies into their park, and their park will fail quicker, and you will win the game. Because you're basically shooting dead bodies. You'll actually win that way.
Well, speaking of
dead
bodies.
well, not even speaking of dead bodies, but talking about shooting it across the way. One of the other amazing things about Action Park was that the park was split down the middle by a major highway.
95. Yeah.
Yep.
Like what? Maybe it's because I've only been to like King's Dominion and Carowinds. But like Carowinds has the whole niche thing of like, ooh, you could stand in North and South Carolina at the same time. Which, side note, their insurance must be insane.
Yeah. I imagine it's a tri-state insurance they have.
But still, it's like, that's what their whole hook is. This hook is, you want to get to the other side of the park? Cross the freeway. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they had the tram bridge. Mm-hmm. And that was another thing. I don't know if you really focused on the tram bridge. It was like the size of this part of the couch.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you sat on it, and there's a single rail underneath. And it didn't look like it had seat belts.
No.
But it just
whatever. Like sit your ass down, go.
Yeah.
This is where you can come drink beer and drive go-karts at 60 miles an hour.
Yeah. What was it called? What is it called? The Moto
Governors.
Motor City?
No, it's Motor World.
Motor
I forget
World.
what they call the go-karts, but the governor inside of them can be turned off.
Yep.
And you can hit max speed of a little over 60.
Yep. So the employees would turn them off, and after a nice couple rounds of beers, take them down on the freeway.
Yeah, fuck it.
Fast and Furious.
Then that compares
Pales in comparison.
to the speedboats.
Oh my God! Yes,
I forgot about the speedboats.
I don't give a fuck about some dude on a go-kart. You give me this dude in a little fucking speed run, a Coke mobile, right?
Yeah, some Miami Vice shit.
Yeah, fucking just rolling down there, and you hit the fucking throttle as far as you can,
fuck yeah,
and
dude.
on an outboard motor.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God. Dude,
Like,
that
this is
motherfucker's...
first time I got on like a speedboat, like a jet ski. I'm like, this must be what cocaine feels like.
I love the Burt Kreischer bit. He goes, "Do you want to feel like a white person?" He goes, "You can feel like a rich white person at any time." He goes, "Just rent a jet ski. It takes no license. You don't have to show any paperwork. You just hand them some cash. They hand you a key. You get on. You're like."
That does sound like the most cracker thing to do. Is like,
Oh,
on
yeah.
a jet ski.
He's
With
like,
your
so
little
if
life
you want to
vest.
just feel like a rich white person, just rent a jet
And
ski.
that was another thing I noticed. There weren't a lot of people wearing life jackets.
Of course not. It was the 80s, man.
Yeah, but like they're talking about the giant 4-foot snakes, black snakes they had up there.
Yeah.
And the oil, in the water that was oil.
Oh yeah, and how during like the wait for one of the rides, there was like a notorious beehive that they could never get rid of. And I'm just
Like,
like,
you can't hire an exterminator or some shit.
fuck no, it's a bunch of 15-year-olds. They're just like, oh, watch out for the bees.
The Tarzan
Yes.
jump had the one with the bees. And I was just
Yeah,
like,
That was like
"God
the most popular one, apparently.
Yeah.
pussy.
Yeah, they're just sitting here and just like, watch out for the bees, dude. They're not going to think to call an exterminator. They walked over to it. They were like, can we
I
set
probably
them
poked it with a fucking stick.
Can we set it on fire?
Yeah.
They threw a couple matches at it, and they're like, well, "That's not going to work." All right. Oh well, I guess we have bees over there.
I want to see this movie now, just the Action Park movie with all these teenagers.
We had one, and it sucked.
What are you Johnny Knoxville?
Yes. No, that movie sucked. Johnny Knoxville
Which one
tried
was
making
this?
a movie. It wasn't called Action Park, but it was like something kind of close to that. But it was supposed to be based on like all the nefarious stories of Action Park, like all the positive things, and like the death is supposed to be kind of played up like jackass injury kind of stuff.
Okay. I don't
And-
remember this.
Yeah, it was like. Remember when they were trying to do the from the studios of Jackass, or from Jackass Studios presents Bad Grandpa?
Exactly.
This was supposed to be another Jackass Studios presents type movie. It did not do well.
What about, did they have like a Gene based character?
Oh yeah, and that's kind of like what Johnny was playing, and it's like there was like just the kids were running the show. He was coming up with stupid ass things. It just didn't land. It just wasn't a good.
And
movie.
here I was going like, this would be a brilliant movie.
And it would be under good hands.
Just not Johnny Knoxville's.
Well, and it seems like Johnny Knoxville would do a good version of it. It just he just did not. I did not think so.
Fair enough.
Yeah. That's what I kind of like about the seriousness of it. That, you know, it did show like, hey, there was consequences to this dumbass action.
Yeah.
People do have a good time, and that's with everything really. Like we see that a lot growing up with like toys. You know, oh man, look at all this badass toys, but this kid, you know, played with it wrong and he died.
Yeah.
Like lawn darts.
Yeah. You used to be able to sell weighted, long, metal spiked objects, and you told kids to throw them.
Yeah. Well, yo-yo. How many times did you see some kid popped in the fucking mouth with one of those goddamn things?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we actually.
we still sell those.
Yeah, but still, yo-yo is actually a weapon. But it's not just a plaything. Like when it was first made, it was a fucking weapon.
Yeah.
So like,
I was picturing like it being used like a ninja star or some shit like that.
but it kind of goes.
Batman uses yo-yos.
Bat yo-yo.
Bat yo.
But you know, with them showing all the bad stuff, it kind of grounds out the whole documentary.
Yeah.
With like, hey, you know, this looks fucking insane. You know, there is consequence that we do see, and it kind of rounds out the documentary kind of evenly. Because you can have some laughs about what's going on, especially with the people who work there, or the people who went there. But you know, there's
people that ran the fucking place.
But like Carowinds, how many people do you think died at Carowinds?
You don't hear about it a lot.
You don't, or Disneyland or Disney World.
Well, you can't hear about it at Disney. They silence those people.
Yeah, they put them in the ground. They put them under Epcot.
They don't. or as Gene says, I wouldn't get rid of you. You know where all the bodies are buried.
Yeah, but like, we don't hear about it as much now or growing up really because we don't really care. But when something like this comes out, oh, it's already failed. So now we can talk about it. And that's the great thing about some of these documentaries is like, no, we have to wait for them to die before we can talk about it.
But like something like Action Part is just like outwardly sketchy just by the looks of it.
Oh yeah,
too,
because there was and that was the thing I was asking when we were watching it. I was like, you know, okay, I get it. Gene kind of like purchased the land and like annoyed the states and the city so much that they were just like, we'll leave you alone if you leave us alone. So it's like, I get it. He made a bit of immunity for himself, but like, I don't know. I guess just in this current day and age of like any little upset and there's like a huge uproar, I guess it just kind of has me conditioned to like looking at this going like, there's like 6 confirmed deaths and like so many like, you know, newspaper articles talking about all these like horrible injuries this place is getting. Why haven't more people like rallied against this place? That's what just more surprised me than anything. Is like, okay, fine. If the city and state are out of control, I'm surprised the people weren't doing more about it.
I think it goes back. We had talked about it before when we were watching it. Was you think about Vernon, New Jersey, is a small town, has a small niche about it. This is a job creator. Like, as fucked up as I hate to say it is, it brought money to the town.
Yeah, it was a tourist thing.
And anytime we go to a tourist spot, Myrtle Beach, you know, even during the fairs and stuff in Winston-Salem, Raleigh, you're bringing a large influx of money. Either it would be like at a gas station or a store, or like when you
local
go,
economy.
The local economy. You know, it creates these little niche spots, and they slowly become the town from Jaws.
You mentioned that too, yeah.
Because what happened in Jaws? This town is only open from the late spring, early fall. The whole island's opened up to tourists. They're all hanging out at the beach, buying knick-knack bullshit, having a ferry in and shit like that. Yeah,
Especially what we dealt with on the Kiss cruise. It was really weird. Like the island opened up literally as the ship docked, and like we could tell the ship was like getting ready to like leave because we could see like certain shops starting to close up, and I was like, "This is weird."
Yeah, that's the whole niche of it. If you're basing your whole economy around a population boom, yeah, you're gonna shy away from any bad talk.
Oh yeah, silence it.
Yeah. You slowly, you kind of
silence it.
You become the mayor from Jaws. Yeah. Shut the fuck up about sharks being here, motherfucker.
Could an action park happen today?
Yes, absolutely. amount of deregulation that's come in the last 20 years.
Because, I mean, I heard them saying stuff like, it lives on as stuff like Firefest and Theranos and stuff like that. But I feel like those are a little bit different. Those are overall scams.
Yeah.
Like Firefest, that's a whole episode if we want to do that. Firefest was a scam. That was...
Carowinds could actually go down the literal same path of Action Park, and no one would give a shit for 10 years.
You sure about that? They'd have to go through a lot of deregulations for that to happen.
Oh yeah. I think Carowinds could go down that path, and it would take a decade to stop. I think people are gonna be like, oh no, we need to bring in regulators. How long
would it take for them to get to that point, though? Like, let's just say starting this season is when they start. How many seasons would it take?
They start hiring kids. The way the economy is going. Yeah.
How many seasons do you think it would take? 3
solid fucking seasons. You start hiring younger and younger people who don't understand regulation, who are just hired off the fly, who just need money for the season. Because when's the best time to hire kids? Late spring.
Out of school.
Yeah. May, June. Best time to hire kids.
Oh yeah, I'm already seeing the signs right now.
You want some fucking money?
You want $100?
Oh, I'm already seeing
every
the signs
fast food joint I've gone to in the last, I think, 3 months has an application in that motherfucker. So
yep.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm already seeing the ads now where it's like Carowinds is promoting like $15-$16 an hour to work at Carowinds,
and amount of money they're cracking in because of COVID. Yeah. No, I don't see the level of corruption, but I do see the level of abandonment in regard to your customer.
Yeah.
And that'll happen in any industry, really. It's like if dealers decide to not invest in ceiling joists. One day Alex is selling cologne to some motherfucker, and then a shard from heaven comes flying down. Oh, fuck, I can't make a sale.
Oh, Lord, now I don't have to worry about that in my location. I just have to worry about all the shootings.
Yeah, that's right. Someone cracked off around up there.
Not recently, but that it has happened quite a few times. In fact, directly in front of our store. Apparently,
America.
I think it was like 4 months before I joined the team, there was a big kerfuffle, a big to-do going on outside in the mall, and they worked their way right into the inside of our entrance right as one of the guys got shot. Jesus so Christ. They had to replace like one of the glass cases and and all this. And here's the fucked up part of the story. If we're talking about fucked up stories on a fucked up theme park. So after that happens, of course, they release the whole store. Everyone goes home. And part of that reason is they need to get everything cleaned up. Well, everyone clocks in the next morning, goes upstairs, stains still all over the fucking floor. No one cleaned it up. So it's just like, God damn. That's the kind of mall I'm dealing with. So I'm dealing with the Action Park of malls.
No shit.
Every day's an adventure.
Yeah. Well, that's the city for you. Yeah.
Yeah, this location is the ghetto mall.
Every day was an adventure in Action Park if you were an employee, for sure, I'd imagine.
Well, like the design, like when he was going back, when one of the guys was talking about it, he was like, look, there was no paths that were safe. If you looked at it, something was like jagged rock. That was
hard rock pavement.
Yeah.
Oh, and I like that if
you didn't bring your own flip-flops, you got fucking meat feet.
Or if you couldn't swim, they would give you a brace that said CFS.
Yes, can't fucking swim.
Yeah, that's badass.
I love it. I love that.
Wonder if anybody kept those.
Oh man, that would be worth some money on eBay right about now.
Yeah, it would.
That'd be like $100-$200 right there.
Just like the pin.
Like the pin.
The pain pin.
Yes,
yeah, really, the pain pin. From standing in a circle because they would spray you with
alcohol and iodine
That's
mixture.
What he was told.
Yes, that's what he was told it was. And yeah, they spray painted. Okay, so what it was, like the Alpine slide was very nefarious for, you getting bruises and abrasions and like basically glorified like rug burn, but with concrete.
Yeah.
So you would have to be taken to the burn shack, and they spray painted the circle on the floor, and they were like, if you can stay in the circle when we spray you with this mixture, you get a prize. And like out of all the people that like had to go to this thing daily, only like 2 people ever like stayed in the circle, and like the best they were able to produce one time was a pin.
I don't think they ever said if the shit worked either.
No one ever talked about if it worked or not.
It didn't have to work. It doesn't have to work. It was clean water.
This also reminds me of the we were talking about a couple episodes on Kid Nation. There was an outtake that never made the episode, but like one of the kids mistook drinking water and alcohol and bleach.
Oh God!
Like they what wound up happening is they were cleaning the dishes that they had, and they had to like deal with very little like cleaning supplies, and they didn't know they had to dilute the bleach. And basically soaked the stuff in it and then just left it out to dry.
Oh shit!
And then next time someone poured a nice glass of water, it was a nice bleach-filled cup, and one kid had to get rushed off the set into the emergency room for that shit. So that's just what it reminds me of. This feels like something that would happen at fucking Action Park, especially in that damn burn check.
I was gonna say, it just reminds me of like Lord of the Flies or some shit.
That's what Kid Nation is.
Or like Action Park even.
That's what I was about to
fucking
say.
Kids.
It's like, fuck.
You don't have the conch. You do not speak.
And again, I'm also slowly getting to that age where I'm starting to see it, but not as much. But like, imagine being like a 30-year-old waiting in line, and like some fucking pimply ass 15-year-old kid is like, go. It's like,
Go.
fuck.
No, fuck you.
Fuck me? Fuck you. I think that should have been the title of the Action Park documentary. Fuck me? No.
Pussy.
Pussy. We're from New Jersey. Fuck you, pussy.
It was the fuck aroundest of times.
It was the find outest of times.
Everybody found out 10 years later.
Found out 10 years later, and they're like, I never went back to a theme park. I actually have a little bit of PTSD about this.
It kind of gives you that whole memory, just like Tiger King. It was like, no, I was there.
Yeah.
I had no idea that dude was a cultist.
Yeah.
With 7 wives.
I just looked at the
And
tigers.
Yeah, I just looked at tigers and snakes.
And went, cool.
Cool.
And laughed at his presidential run.
Can you imagine, just a documentary about him, and then someone interviewing you? It's like, oh no, he's just glorifying it.
Yeah.
No, this is what he saw.
I just saw some tigers as a kid,
Yeah,
and I went,
like,
cool, tiger.
It was the Dick's Bananas.
It was the Diggs Bananas.
Yeah.
And on that note, I guess that's as any good places to wrap up us talking about Action Park. We didn't really miss anything, did we?
No.
I think we covered all the bases. Gene was a crazy motherfucker that drew out a water slide on a napkin.
It was
said,
too crazy
"Make
for
it."
Donald Trump to invest in.
Yes.
Yeah, it was too crazy for Donald. If it was too crazy for Donald Trump to invest in, I think that says a lot. So for this episode of the Couch Potatoes, I've been Alex.
This has been Cap.
And Chris, do you have any sort of final thoughts on Action Park?
Fuck OSHA. We don't need safety. We need to go back to the 80s. I give this kid an 8 ball. He's working for a week. Fuck yeah.